Defining food that's local to Ottawa includes exploring what food is native to the area. Trina Simard from Aboriginal Experiences sat down with us to talk about the origins of Aboriginal food culture and how it's incorporated in today's food climate. Things are going to get delicious here at the Summer Solstice Festival. Hi Trina, it's so nice to meet you.
Thank you very much. So glad you could come.
Thanks. So tell us more about the festival, the food involved, and what makes this festival's food unique.
Absolutely. So I'm Trina Simard. I'm Executive Director of Aboriginal Experiences, and we produce the Summer Solstice Aboriginal Festival. And a big part of sharing our culture with our 30,000 visitors that attend is introducing them to some of the cuisine that we have, some of our traditional foods, which are a really important part of our community and culture. And thankfully something we're able to continue to sustain.
So I heard that the Ottawa region was actually a trading point for different nations back in the day. Can you tell us more about what that did to influence the food culture of the area?
Yes, absolutely. So Ottawa actually was the original name, which is where Ottawa comes from, and it meant place of meeting and trade. Being kind of at the center point between two of the rivers, so many of the nations would travel downriver to meet and trade in this area. And so the big trade commodity would often be either hides or traditional foods and things that they could harvest in their community that was new to this region. And so they were able to share so many and introduce each other to so many different traditional foods. Down in the south, they would bring in the wild rice and they could trade for some of the more local foods. And so it really, I think, helped to introduce different food and cuisine and that's grown naturally to the communities that would come here to trade.
What defines local Ottawa food to you?
Well, I think it really varies. Throughout southern Ontario, we always just would rely on what was natural to us. So as they would often follow the food. So they would follow in the fall and spring, they would follow possibly the waterway for the fish, where it was more plentiful, or they would follow the large game. And they would pick whatever was natural in the region and use it for either medicine or within their traditional foods, berries, harvest the wild rice. So it would really, because they were nomadic so often, so they would kind of follow the different food sources and collect and, smoke their fish. And so the food would vary by season and by where they were traveling within the region.
That's so cool. So fast forward to the present, what's your favorite modern interpretation of Aboriginal cuisine and where do you see it in the mainstream these days?
I think you can see it almost everywhere now. When you go out to dine, I so often now see traditional game on the menu and incorporating so many different kind of like recipes and reflections. So I think that's what's great is that it's now, you can have it at kind of a festival food level and you can go out for fine dining and see some options where they've explored and integrated some of our traditional foods there as well.
Aboriginal Experiences was actually part of the Vancouver Olympics. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yes, absolutely. So we were very honored to be selected as the exclusive Aboriginal caterer for the 2010 Olympics. And we worked with two great Aboriginal chefs, Arnold Olson and David Wolfman, who were both part of a culinary gold medal winning team for Canada at the Culinary Olympics. And they really helped us to work with local Indigenous foods and flavors and kind of infuse it into hors d'oeuvres that could be served at the Olympic Pavilion there and some traditional meals that were really reflective of Métis, Inuit, and different First Nations cultures. And so we were able to build a really national menu. On a daily basis, it would be a different culture and a different community. We would try and reflect them through the food and really help them highlight being part of such a big thing as the 2010 Olympics. So it was a really great experience.
What's your favorite local ingredient you love to cook with?
Well, I would have to say, so my family's from Curve Lake First Nation, which is outside of Peterborough, and wild rice was one of our traditional harvested food supplies. And so wild rice holds a special place with me, and we still have some people in our community that harvest it traditionally, and now are able to package and sell it so people can have that real sustainable wild rice. And we're actually serving and providing samples of wild rice that's still grown traditionally and harvested by a member of our community there in Curve Lake. So
that's wonderful.
Yeah, so that would probably be mine that I love seeing integrated.
Well, Trina Miigwech, thank you so much for speaking with me about Algonquin cuisine.
You're very welcome. I'm glad you came.